Hi, welcome back to Module 4 of Straight Line Persuasion. Now, this particular module here is absolutely crucial in your ability to persuade and influence people. See, here's the deal. At the heart of influence is your ability not just to sell someone an idea, but on something much more powerful, which is your vision of the future. At the heart of everything, people are never going to, do business with you or buy into your goals that you might have. What they will do, though, is they'll literally give their right arm sometimes to be part of your vision for the future. See, all human beings are thirsty for a vision, but very few people actually have a compelling one. They get caught up in the muck and mire of setting goals that usually don't inspire them and aren't really stretching their abilities. And more often than not, what really holds a person back from being successful is not that they set lofty goals and miss them, is they set very minor goals and hit them. See, the opposite of great is not bad, but I'll tell you what the enemy of great is, and that's average. So you're going to learn here very important things about creating a vision for your future, about how to do that. And I don't mean just, a vision inside your head. I'm talking about how you actually see yourself and your family, the people you love and care about, how you see yourself in society, how the moves you make on a day-by-day basis will impact everybody around you and improve the quality of life, not just for those in your immediate circle of influence, but from people that go 3 and 4 levels down. It's like ripples on a pond. You throw the rock in the pond, you see a couple of ripples, and they spread out, and they spread out, and they spread out. When you have a compelling vision, that's precisely what happens. Now, included also in this module, you'll see some things about body language. And I put this in there for a very precise reason, because what happens is when you're actually sharing your vision with people, remember, only 9% is the words. The other cues, as we talked about before, is tonality and, of course, body language. How you make eye contact, how you hold your body, those physiological unconscious triggers that you create in somebody else by the way you look, by the way you sound, and you give off that unconscious understanding that you're a person of influence, that you're a force to be reckoned with, that you're almost a tour de force in your own life. And when you get to that spot, and you'll get there at the end of this module, you're going to find that force inside you I spoke about, and it's waking up more and more. And you're going to go out there afterwards with a newfound confidence and an ability not just to be a goal setter, but to be a visionary. And once you get to that spot, influencing those around you becomes really, really easy. So enjoy the module. Take notes in your action book, and remember that what you're doing right now is going to translate into the real world, not in a minor way, but a major way. James Cameron. You all know who he is, right? Avatar, right? When he was interviewed, he made a statement, and he said that, my way of success is that I set really, really lofty goals. So if I fall a bit short, I'm still doing okay. Makes sense, right? But here's the thing. James Cameron is not a goal setter, so to speak. He's a visionary. There's a huge difference. The biggest difference I see with people that really succeed in life are the ones that have something that beyond the goal. It's their vision for the future. There's an entirely different level of commitment when you're a visionary. So when you're a visionary and you can get excited about something and really get your thoughts out across to somebody else, how much do you think he had to raise to get Avatar done? First, he put in about $200 million of his own money. $200 million of his own money. Then he had to go out and raise like $900 million more. You can't raise money like that. I don't care if you're James Cameron or anybody, unless, A, you are creating a vision for somebody. It can't just be like, I want you to invest in Avatar because it's going to be a great movie. There's a different level above that where you describe the way things look, what they're going to make people feel like, what it's going to sound like, an entirely new world. He created a new world. That's how you raise money for something, by being a visionary. People will never buy into your goals. You understand what I'm saying here? If you want to get ahead in life, you're going to need other people to want to come along for the ride, to want to buy into your vision with their time or their money. Their time or their money or both. People don't buy into goals. Your goals are your own. You can't sell someone else on your goals. But everybody is thirsty for a vision. people will buy into your vision because they don't have their own. Most people do not have a vision. They go around, and we were taught because this great tape came out in like 1959 called The Strangest Secret by a man named Earl Nightingale, and it was powerful. Anyone here listen to The Strangest Secret? I suggest you do. It's very old, and a lot of it's outdated because what's happened is the language, we're going to get into language a bit later when we go to language patterns. The language has lost its power. What The Strangest Secret really talks about is setting goals, and that you are what you think about. You become what you think about. And by setting a goal, you're essentially activating your conscious mind to focus on a certain outcome. Because of that, you will take actions to move in the direction of that outcome. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? Okay. So what happens is you set your goals and you move towards them, right? The problem is that 40 years ago, it's almost 50 years ago now, we become a society where the word goal is like a buzzword for failure. I'm goal-oriented. What the hell does that mean? Everybody and their grandma has a goal. And they're mostly full of crap. Goals are discarded. I set a goal, I discard it. I set a goal, I discard it. I'm going to tell you to set goals. But what I want you to do, what I implore you to do, is you have to have something on top of your goal, which is your vision for the future. And that goes far beyond what your goals are. You're going to have goals that are stepping stones along the way. That's all your goals are. Your vision is where you live. It's what you must have. The least powerful word, the most disempowering word in the English language is this. This is the word of losers. You ready for it? I'm going to give it to you. It is the stupidest word in the entire English language. You want to know what the word is? Very simple. Should. It's the dumbest, most ridiculous, most disempowering word in your vocabulary. Tell me what you should do. What should you do? It's a word, well, I really should do this. I really should. It's crap. If you want to succeed in life, and this word is attached to any goal you have or any action you should take, it is worthless and self-defeating. Knock this word out of your vocabulary. What's the word? Who knows the word? Anyone know? Will or must. I will, I must. Those are words that will allow you to move forward in the face of fear, in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Will and must. The point is this. The words that you say to yourself every single day are what dictates your actions. Bottom line. You have to set a goal, but on top of the goal is got to be something infinitely more powerful and personal to you. And that's your vision for your own future, how you see your life going, how you see yourself living, your family, your children, your parents. Can't rely on the government. God knows we can't, right? To take care of our families or ourselves. Social Security is nearly bankrupt. And whatever they do give you, I got my social, I'm sad to say that I'm older, but I actually got something. Maybe you get this too when you're younger. I got a thing saying what I'm going to get at the age of 65. It was scary. Like $1,100. It's enough to pay for my diapers when I'm in a nursing home. Okay? That's what's going to happen if you don't take control of your life. Do you know that at the age of 25, this is something from The Strangest Secret, they polled 100 men, and of those 100 men, they said, how many of you want to be rich? And all 100, I all want to be rich, right? But at the age of 65, only 1 is rich, 4 are financially independent, and the rest are broke. What is it that causes a person to give up on all their hopes and dreams between the age of 25 and 65, so most of them live a disempowered life and act like creatures of circus? So what is that? What's that X factor that ignites people like you sitting in a room to really want to live your life at the highest level? I'll tell you what it is. It's not the goals you set. See, Earl Nightingale said it was goals, and back then it was true, because back then the word goals meant something different than it means today. Right now, goals are buzzwords for failure. You set a goal, didn't work. My goal is to lose weight, didn't lose weight. Next goal, my goal is to lose more weight, next goal. My goal is to get in shape, next. We don't take them seriously. a vision that relates to you, your family, how you see yourself from the outside. That's called dissociated. Write that down. Dissociated. How you see yourself in your own mind when you make a picture in your own mind. That's your vision of how you see yourself living. And then you step into that vision and you associate in, A-S-S, associate, to give yourself the feeling, let the feeling wash over you about how you see yourself in the future. That sits on top of your goal. This is your star on top of your goals. Your goals are here, beneath your vision. They're stopping points along the way. Sometimes you're going to hit them, sometimes you're not. The mistake people make when they set goals is they invest their happiness in the outcome. They set a goal, say, I got to get to $150,000 in commission this year, and I'm going to work my ass off until I do. And until then, I'm not going to allow myself to feel happy. That's a recipe for disaster and a recipe for failure. You set a goal and you detach yourself from the outcome. It doesn't matter whether you achieve a goal or don't achieve a goal. Of course, you want to. Your goal for the goal is to achieve the goal, right? But your happiness is not dependent on the outcome. Or else you're going to sit there and say, I'll be happy when I get there. How many people have set a goal, achieved it, and said, is that all there is? I have. I know lots of people have. If your whole outcome in your mind is dependent on achieving the goal, you're going to live a very, very empty, unhappy life. Waiting for these little blips in time when you actually hit a goal, and you're like, all right, the goal's now, what do I do now? What's next? Okay, I can get the boat, got the boat, what do I do now? I need a bigger boat. My problem when I was 25 years old is I really didn't have any meaning to what I was doing, the meaning of it all, my why. I didn't really know my why. Okay, I was making money hand over fist, rolling in it. So I said, well, the first thing I did was what? I made $650,000 in one stock trade. The first thing I did was not buy a house. I bought a white Ferrari Testarossa. Why? Because Don Johnson was driving one in Miami Vice. I had to have it. The next thing I did, I went out to the West Coast and I checked into the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel. Why? Richard Gere did it in Pretty Woman. Took the presidential suite. It was the best. And I'll tell you the third thing I did, okay, which really screwed me over. I modeled myself from TV and the movies. There was one guy, this belief, and those are beliefs, by the way, that were installed in me since I was that big about what is success. Success is a white Ferrari Testarossa. Success means being able to go out to the West Coast with a hot-looking blonde and check into the presidential suite. Success means whatever we think it is. We're all different, okay? But the one belief that screwed me up the most, that really, it destroyed me. I would sue the bastard if I could. There's one guy who really installed the belief in me that screwed me. You know who it was? Bingo. Gordon Gekko. Greed is good. That's what he told me. And I was 23 years old. I looked up at the big screen, and this guy was sitting there saying, greed is good, greed cuts through, bullshit. Greed is not good. Greed is destructive. Greed doesn't cut through and clarify anything. It's ambition that's good. It's passion that cuts through and clarifies. Hard work. Greed is destructive. As soon as you become greedy, and I'm saying this for a reason right now because you're going to find after we're done that you're going to start making a lot more money really, really quick. I just want you to have your head screwed on straight, not because I'm so smart, because I'm smarter than you or above you. I just have been through a lot of pain in my life, and I made a lot of mistakes by having a gift to close and to teach others to close. And I thought it was all about making as much as you can, as fast as you can, and my ethics went flying out the window. And I lost that and paid the price. Greed's not good. It's ambition that's good. It's ambition that clarifies. And you will see on those lines, using the things that you have learning here this morning so far, especially this afternoon, we're going to get really specific on tactics and on strategy of how to close. And then we're going to hammer it home tomorrow. You're going to find that your commissions are going to soar. And if you're managing other people, it's going to be like turning a key to get them to perform too. That's how powerful it is. But if you go out and it's just about money and try to send it in as quick as you can, it's going to end badly for you. I don't want you to go down the road that I went through and had to make this whole transition where I had to go away from my family, come out, write a couple of wild books about it, and somehow they're making a movie now and Leonardo DiCaprio is playing me. Leo DiCaprio is playing me in a movie coming out next year. He's the wolf. And like, everyone's like, wow, Leo's playing you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sort of honored. I wish it was for curing cancer. It's not like, he's playing me and it's sort of like it's good. And hey, my life has meaning on many levels. As a cautionary tale and as a motivation story. Cautionary to what happens when you take something that's really, really great and go hog wild and lose your ethics. It's motivating to know that any one of you, with a little bit of training can become fabulously wealthy. Fabulously wealthy. As long as you're willing to do the work and follow the system. Because everything we do from this point forward is going to feed into these three things. What are they? What's number one? We'll do sharp first. Second is what? Enthusiastic as hell. And three, force to be reckoned with. An expert. You're a force of nature. A tour de force. These three things, everything that we do is going to feed these three things. And here's another one. We're going to have to make the following cases. Write this down. This is the key to selling. These three things have to be accomplished before you can close anybody. Number one, they have to love your product. Write that down. They have to, number one, love your product. I can't write. I can't physically write English. It's the weirdest thing. I can type English really, really well. Okay, I can't write. Love your product. Number two, they have to trust you. Trust you. And number three, they have to trust your company. These three things, when they're not, if any one of them is missing, people will not buy. Think about it for a second. I'm a salesman and I'm selling you a car. Selling you a car, right? Let's use car sales because it goes to any sales. All right? You come down to the dealership and you love me. You've known me, in fact, for years, and you know I'm a trustworthy, honest guy, and I really always do the right thing. In fact, you know my dealership is just the same way. We're charitable, we're altruistic, give money away to the right places. We always stand behind our product, reputation for great service, right? You love me, you love my company. But you know what? You think my cars stink. Will you buy a car from me? Yes or no? Not in a million years. You will not buy a car from me if you don't love the car. If you like the car, will you buy it? Okay? If you're pitching somebody a loan modification, okay, and you get them and you go through the whole thing and then you say, what do you think? They're like, sounds pretty good. Are they going to buy? Never. It's not enough they like your product. They have to love your product. They have to think it is this. Write this down. The best thing since sliced bread. The biggest mistake salesmen make is they try to close with emotion because they read some frickin' sales manuals. People don't buy on logic. They buy, oh yes they do. People buy on logic. Hello. We're not stupid. If you try to impulse somebody without logic, maybe you can get them for a moment. They'll renege. They'll change their mind. But closing without logic is fighting a serious uphill battle. If they don't think your product is the best thing since sliced bread, you are in serious trouble trying to close them. So let's do it now. You hate my product, you love me, you love my company, sorry, sell me something else. Next scenario. You love the car, you've always wanted this car, and you love me. I'm a great person, I'm trustworthy, I'm honest, I'm altruistic, treat my friends well, have a good heart. But my company's shady, and you just know, because you've heard from everybody around town, that they ain't going to do the right thing. Will you buy from me? You'll say, can you go work at another company? Yes or yes, right? They still won't buy. Likewise, You're a consumer. You walk into a dealership, and I had this very experience less than 90 days ago. I walked into a Porsche dealership, and I just had a bug up my ass. I wanted to buy the Porsche Panamera. I wanted this car. I was going to buy this car. It's a four-door Porsche, $105,000, and it's gorgeous. I was going to buy this car. And I walked in, my girlfriend and I, we walked in as like buyer stamped on my forehead. Any salesman worth this would have said, this guy, I said, show me a pen. I would have signed my name. That's how hot I was for the car. So I go in there, and this bastard wouldn't sell me a car. I couldn't get the guy to sell me a car. He had every excuse from, he had to run the numbers, he had to do this, he had to go to the bathroom. He wouldn't sell. I never was so out of rapport with a salesman in my life. He spoke slowly, I speak quickly. He didn't enter my world where I was. He's asking me all these questions. I pulled up in a beautiful brand new BMW 750. I'm qualified. You get it? I'm wearing a nice watch. I'm qualified. Okay? I walked out. I said, I can't believe this guy wouldn't sell me a car. He wanted to. He didn't know how to. Okay? I would, at that point, buy a Porsche from anyone on the planet but him. I don't want to deal with that guy. Okay? He makes me feel like crap. I walked in a positive state, and I walked away in a negative emotional state. Because the state that you're in, does it impact the state of the people around? Yes or no? It does. Your state impacts the state of all those around you. So I walked out of the Porsche dealership, like scratching my head, like, can you believe this guy didn't sell us a Porsche? Now, I never bought the Porsche because the novelty wore off, and boom, I was out of the market. Next place I went to was a Range Rover. They said, let's get a Range Rover instead. Screw the Porsche, right? We go to a Range Rover dealership, okay? I sit down. This guy is a smoothie. He's like 52 years old, smooth car salesman. He blew the sale, too. I was going to buy a Range Rover. I was like, let's get a Range Rover. I walk in there, and we start sitting down. He's, hey, how you doing? All great. Everything's pretty good, right? We start talking, okay? I look at my watch once because I'm in a rush. Did he notice? No. Okay? He says, well, you have any family? He's trying to create rapport with me as he's doing some numbers. I said, I have a son. He's a soccer player. Then my girlfriend says, oh, yeah, my son, we have to leave soon because he's playing basketball in the league. Well, that was it. I heard for 20 minutes about his son that played for North Carolina back when Michael Jordan played for North Carolina, and how he's assigned basketball from Michael Jordan. 20 minutes. The guy went out because he thought he was creating a rapport with me. And finally said, you know what, pal, you're a nice guy. Email me a quote. He had never got around to even giving me a quote. Now, if this is a straight line here, okay? If this is the straight line, and your goal is what, right? The promised land, to make a sale. This is the moment I walk into the car dealership, right? I walk in, right? Now, what's the first thing he has to do? Gain rapport, gather intelligence. Before anything, I instantly, boom, right? So he has a couple of seconds, right? 4 seconds flat to do that. The guy in the Porsche dealership, he failed. So I stayed there for a little while until I left, okay? This guy got me for the first 4 seconds. So here it is, right? In the perfect world, I would have walked and said, hey, buddy. He said, hey, how you doing? I said, don't talk to me. I want a car. Or we'll have a Range Rover. I want the black Range Rover. Great. And I'm right down the straight line, right? I go, boom. That's the perfect sale with nothing. I'm just yes, and I close, right? I walked in there, great, how you doing? Great, we spoke for a bit, and we start going off the line, because I didn't go right for the say I want the car. I said, hey, I want to come here to look at some cars, okay? If I say I'm here to look at some cars, okay, am I on the line or off the line? Well, I'm off the line, believe it or not. I'm almost on the line, but I'm here. If I said I'm here to buy a car, I'm on the line. Someone calls you up and says, I'm interested in credit repair. Are they on the line or off the line? They're off the line, slightly. Are they in the ballpark? Yeah. They're probably in that first archetype. They want to do it now. But they're not on the line. They're slightly off the line. This is the concept of controlling the sale. So watch what happens. So I walk into the car dealership, okay? I'm close. I'm here to look at a car. I'm interested in buying a car. We start talking. Oh, you have any family? You have any family? We start talking. He sits me down. He says, yeah, great. Oh, your son plays basketball? Yeah. My son. And he's off to Pluto. This is your boundary. Above and below the line. It's in these areas where rapport is developed and intelligence is gathered. When you go outside those areas, you're done. You're completely out of rapport. You're in Pluto. You've lost control of the sale. You're not pacing, leading, nothing. Nothing's being accomplished, and chances are you will lose the sale. So the idea is, in a very elegant and effective way, is to gain rapport and gather intelligence. Right here. Tightly, not too far off the line. By doing that, you're moving the sales forward. You're gathering necessary intelligence to close him later. See, the intelligence, watch what happens. The intelligence that you gather here, you're going to use in the back half of the sale to start narrowing down what it really is that's holding him back, and using his needs to make an airtight, logical case. Write this down. And make an airtight emotional case. Both. Airtight logical case, airtight emotional case, as to why he should be buying when? Now. It's not enough that he should buy now. This is goal-oriented selling. There's no 10% rapport or 30% rapport. It's all about rapport. And it's all about gathering intelligence every step of the way. Every word is deliberate. Every tonal pattern you run is deliberate to elicit a certain emotion. And each one brings them along the line. And if at any point along the line you realize that A, they can't afford it, so to buy it would put them in a bad position, you stop and don't force the sale. You don't force the sale if they should not buy. Because what will happen is when you'll get into rapport with these people and you run a couple of language patterns, they'll say yes and do it, and they won't even know why. Have you ever been, one of the things you're going to find when you finish this training here, you're going to start seeing people trying to manipulate you. When you go to buy stuff, you'll start saying, oh shit, now I know why I bought that stuff. You were straight line without even realizing it. Now maybe they didn't call it the straight line, someone ran a pattern on you and broke a couple of your core beliefs and made a case to buy now, and boom, you did it, and you're like, why the hell did I buy that? Who's ever bought something after you're like, why did I buy that? Okay? That's why. Someone ran a language pattern on you that interrupted your logic center for a second. They made an airtight logical case, airtight emotional case, why you should buy now. They asked for the order, bam, you were in rapport, you did it. That's how we work. That's how we make our decisions. We run movies in our head. To every decision, we say, decision, okay, should I buy? I run the movie in a split second of what it's going to be like and what I'll feel like after the purchase. How will I feel owning this product and using it? How will it make me feel? So now if we're going to make a case, an emotional case, why they should buy now, we're going to have to future pace. It's called future pace. What's going to happen after they buy the product? You're going to, using words and tonal patterns, you're going to create a picture of what it's going to be like and how great they're going to feel using your product and being known as a person who makes smart decisions. Very important to people. Not just how they'll feel using the product, but how they'll feel about themselves for having made a smart decision. How they're going to look in the eyes of their family, in the eyes of people in their neighborhood. And also the fundamental shift it makes in them as human beings, that in the past they were held back from making decisions because of limiting beliefs they had. That power that they get now for making a good decision is awesome. And all that comes along the straight line. So back to this page before, or maybe it's 2 pages before, okay? What are the 3 things, okay? Number 1, they have to love your product. Logical case. This is the logical case. They must love your product. It's the best thing out there. Will they buy it? No. They love it. 2, they must trust you. And in trust comes a couple other things. They must like you. They must trust you. And also, extremely important, they must know that you what? Care. Now, how do you say it? I really care? You can't say that. But you can imply it with your tone. And it's so powerful that you'll be such tight rapport, they'll be hanging on your every word. That's the level you have to get to close everyone who's closable. I heard a story today. Someone told me, yeah, I hired this woman for my company, and she went out and she broke all the records in the first 2 weeks and we thought she was live. You know what? Did we taped her? No, she's just great. I'm like, well, how good does she sound? She sounds awesome. Oh, no, duh. She sounds awesome. Why do you think they're all buying from her? She sounds... I didn't say she is awesome. There's a difference. I didn't say she is awesome. What I said is she what? She sounds awesome. There's a difference. Sounds often, her tone, how the words flow out of her mouth like elegant pearls. They come out of her mouth. I went down to Wall Street. I was the sharpest salesman I had seen. I was 22 and I knew I had a talent to sell. I owned a meat company. I went door to door selling meat and seafood. Knocking on doors, made a fortune. When I was 22, built a company with 26 trucks on the road. 26 trucks. I came up with an early version of the straight line and was training people that were almost like crack addicts. They were like the worst, the bottom of the barrel, and they became master closers because crack addicts can sell really well when you get them motivated. The problem is when they crash, they disappear with the meat. Now, I was a young kid. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was making a fortune. I went out and bought myself a beautiful Porsche. I thought I had it made. I thought I was a millionaire. I was out of business like that. Like overnight, like all of a sudden, where'd the money go? You know, anyone who's in business knows this early experience. When you first go into business, I know Michael knows it very well. Okay, you make all these mistakes. So you think you don't realize about cash flow and receivables, and you grow on credit, and you make all these mistakes that new business owners make. I made them all. I was out of business. So I heard about some guy who was making like $1 million a year as a stockbroker, and he was not that sharp. I was like, wait a second. If this guy can make $1 million, I can make $100 million. Well, I was right. And I went down to Wall Street, and the first day I walked into a Wall Street boardroom, boom, I was blown away. The mighty roar of the boardroom, I was just absolutely blown away. And they sat me next to a guy named Mark Hanna. And the guy was so smooth. His voice was as smooth as silk. And I learned something that instant I sat down next to him. I heard him pitch on the phone, and it didn't matter what he said. He was ripping people's eyeballs out, which I do not suggest you do. He was ripping their eyeballs out. And this was a big firm. It was hard selling, hard. It was basically, you know, I was notorious for saying either they buy or they die. I'm not proud of that I said that. And unfortunately, it was on the front page of Forbes magazine. So that wasn't good for my image, okay? But I did say that in a moment of insanity. You know, either they buy or they die. Rip their throats out. Not good stuff. But that's what I had seen in this brokerage firm, LF Rothschild, and it's also what I heard Gordon Gekko say. Rip their throats out and suck their skulls, right? I was influenced by what I'd seen, and I was off course. My point is this. He was ripping people's eyeballs out, and he sounded like he was apologizing at the same time. I was like, what? I never heard that before, because I was a hard-selling street salesman. I'm like, what? And I listened, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's got the most unbelievable tone I've ever heard. He'd be like, sir, let me say this. And I'm like, I'm like, wow. He'd say, sir, I want to be an asset. He has like way of really, and he'd say, you know, pick up 10,000. And the people were like, okay, Mark, I want to be an asset to you and your family. His tonality had this sort of like this velvety smoothness that he'd be like apologizing you for asking for your money. You're sending it in, you love the guy, and you lost everyone millions. Okay? And I was like, Jesus, I said, there really is something to this tonality. And I added tonality to my arsenal. I never really had focused in on it before. I had focused in more on structure. And I added tonality to the mix of it all. Later on, I opened up my own company. About 1.5 years later, after the market crashed shortly thereafter, and I had an opportunity to open up my own firm, and I did it. And in the beginning, I didn't really have the straight line. I didn't have the straight line. But I knew all this stuff, and it was kind of in my own brain floating around, but without a system. See, it comes down to a system, okay? And without a system, you can never rise to the highest level. You need a system. I had all this great information, all the stuff I'm teaching you about, you know, loving the product, I knew all that. I knew about tonality too. I knew about limiting buying lists. I even knew that. I had it all there, but it wasn't a system. So what happens is when you don't have a system, I could teach someone, and if they have talent, they take to it. But since it's not a system, if I teach you when it's not a natural, they can't take to it. You get it? It's hard to teach somebody when it's not a turnkey system. I want everyone for 1 second, this is a very powerful exercise. I want you right now to think, okay, close your eyes for a second. Everyone close your eyes. I want you to think of the best restaurant that that you've ever been to or you've thought about going to. Close your eyes, really get into this, insert yourself into this dream. The best restaurant in the world with such food that you love, an ambiance that's fabulous. It could be anywhere in the world. It could be French food. Imagine the smell, if it's French food or Italian food, the smell of roasted garlic. A beautiful candlelit room with someone that you love and you care about, enjoying the greatest day, maybe your anniversary or Valentine's Day or someone that you love their birthday. And think of that restaurant and think of the name of that restaurant. And I want you to think about the sign, on a sign. Put the name of that restaurant on a sign. And now open your eyes. Raise your hand if you thought of McDonald's. No, not a soul thought of McDonald's, right? One guy in the back, there's my man, thought of McDonald's, okay. Okay, McDonald's is the most successful restaurant in the world. The food stinks compared to what you're thinking about, like Le Cirque. It's good fast food. The ambiance, it's clean, but is it beautiful? No. Why did no one think of McDonald's? Why are they the most successful? Because their system for running the restaurant is so simple that a 16-year-old kid can do it. A 16-year-old kid can run a McDonald's, and it's mostly 16-year-olds that run it. When you have a turnkey system that's so effective and so foolproof that anyone can step into it with a little bit of training, take to it, that's a winner. When I turned the straight line philosophy, it was called the straight line method in the beginning, I turned it into a system. Everybody, and I mean everybody, succeeded. Men, women, even people with accents. Oh, that's the one tough thing to overcome. If somebody has a thick accent, very difficult, especially on the phone. But that aside, anyone could succeed with it. And I had people that were 17 years old. I had one kid I told you was 18, his biggest year, he made $7 million. $7 million. I think he got a GED from high school. And he was working in a pool. He was a great pool player. He worked in a pool. He was hustling people playing pool. I had a kid named Bobby Koch who worked for me. He was an Irish kid. He had a big, beefy head, this kid. Big, giant eyeballs, right? And this kid was as dumb as a box of rocks. He was really, I'm telling you, he had an IQ just north of Forrest Gump on 3 hits of acid. That was Bobby Koch, okay? Bobby Koch came to me with all the desire in the world. All the desire in the world. His New York accent was so thick, it was like sludge coming off the words. Bobby Koch had never read the Wall Street Journal in his life, and if he tried to read it, he wouldn't know what it meant. He just wanted to be rich, and he believed in me, and he believed in the place he was working, which was Stratton in the early days, when you could walk in and you were like, oh my God, the wealth was dripping off the walls. So Bobby sat down behind a desk, one of the first 25 people that was in the firm, and I trained him like we're doing here every day. Just imagine this every day for 2 years. With tonality and structure. You have to learn the looping of the straight line. Just imagine all that for years. Bobby was one of the only people that didn't take to the system. It took him 3-4 months. He was barely getting by. Now, barely getting by was making $150,000 a year at my company. You were considered a piker. 150, you're a piker. No one respect you. But he struggled and he struggled. He went out, finally, and he got speech lessons. I sent him for speech lessons to a guy named Sam Schwat, who was teaching actors how to do dialects, famous speech therapist. And Bobby went out and got speech lessons. He taught himself how to speak correctly. He read the Wall Street Journal every day. And guess what? By year one, at the end, he was making $1 million a year. Bobby Koch became an average year, making $1.3 million to $1.4 million with a vicious coke habit, vicious alcohol habit, a gambling addiction, all the vices. But because the system was so powerful, it didn't matter what, he could roll into work all screwed up and he still soared. Okay? That's the power of the system. Now, to take it forward, many years later, my firm closed down. And guys like Bobby Koch, they made $1 million, they spent $1.1 million. That was their nature, to spend big and live big, to live the life. He was broke. Well, what do you think happened to Bobby Koch? He became rich again like that because he had the skill set and he had a system that worked. He went out into venture capital and started raising money, became wealthy, started doing deals, made a fortune. He went into, he was selling artwork for a while, an art, a thing online or something he was doing. Made a fortune. On and on and on and on. It's the skill set that carries the day. So now we talk about tonality, right? Let's talk about the other element of this, okay? And the other element of this is body language. Let me explain to you about what body language really is. It's the management of space and time. Your space around you, the way you move throughout the world when you move into a room, okay? That's body language, okay? Men and women are entirely different. When you're selling a woman, when you're persuading a woman as a man, okay, you need to stand directly in front of her. You do not stand off to the side. And when you stand with a woman, you have to stand away at least 2.5 feet. Write this down. This is crucial. If you invade a woman's space, woman, am I right? If someone invades your bubble, are they out of the thing? 2 seconds, they're out, right? They're all laughing. They know. Okay, I see men, I used to call them space invaders. Who knows a space invader? You have a friend, everyone knows, like, you hate the guy. He's usually a spitter, too. And you're like, right? But the worst thing is a space invader. He comes up, he's in your bubble, okay? When you're selling a woman, okay, you stay 2.5 feet back and directly in front, not off to the side, because she thinks she wants to see your hands, a woman. This is true. This has been tested clinically. This is not, I'm not making this up. I promise you. It's true. For men, okay, a man on a man, you never stand directly in front of a man and face a man. You stand off to the side. Do not confront a man head on. It's adversarial. Okay, if you're trying to persuade a man, okay, you stand off at an angle. Men always meet at angles. Okay? It's uncomfortable for a man to be face to face with another man. Okay? Number 3, for men, okay, things like pinky rings. Very bad. It's been proven that if a salesman puts on a pinky ring, the level drops of closes drops dramatically. Goatees. If they're really well trimmed, they can be okay, but goatees can be a problem. Facial hair. Just letting you know, if you have one, okay? Got one right there. He sells on the phone, right? I'm just telling you, sometimes goatee, if you're face to face, can be perceived as adversarial in some way, okay? Whatever, okay? Next, handshakes. Making a handshake. The way you shake someone's hand says an awful lot about who you are. Okay, there's lots of different types of handshakes. Number 1, you have your basic handshake, right, which is a neutral handshake, right? You shake the same waist level, same pressure as them, right? That's your cooperator's handshake. That's your best handshake. Do not do the old nice to glean, the guys like that. People do not like that handshake. They will not buy from people that shake their hand that way. They're intimidated. They're intimidated, okay? That's an aggressive handshake. Conversely, you have the passive handshake, which is like this. You ever see this one? You go to shake someone's hand, right? Believe it or not, that's the ultimate power handshake. When someone is doing that to you, they're showing you they're trying to show you they're in power over you. Believe it or not, a wimpy handshake is from a man who gives you a wimpy handshake is showing you that they're in power over you. I was shocked when I heard this. I did research. I didn't believe it. And I actually found 5 sources. It said the wimpy handshake is the power handshake. Okay? So don't go out there trying to be all passive out there with somebody. Think if you shake their hand, they'll think you're non-aggressive and non-threatening. You shake the cooperator's handshake. Okay? Dressing for success. Okay? This is something I mentioned earlier. I went to a seminar with someone who I thought was a wackadoodle, this guy. Okay? But he's also brilliant. Some wacky people are really smart. I'm wacky, right? And I learned a couple of things there that really I found to be helpful when I train other salesmen. And what he called it was wrapping your package. And I hated this phrase, wrap your package. Stop it, wrap your package. But he meant wrap your package. It means dress your best, okay? It's called wrapping your package. Certain colors. Right now, I am not dressed to close because I'm not trying to close you. This is a training exercise. I'm here to train you. I'm comfortable. I'm casual. I have short sleeves on, okay? In fact, I'm going to take it off. I wore short sleeves because for me, it's about comfortability, okay? If I was trying to sell you something, okay, stand up. This man, stand up. Seriously. He went to the same seminar. This is how you dress to close. Suit, slight pink color, all matching, that's a closer's outfit. Now, I know we're not here to close. I want you to understand. Thanks a lot. Thanks. I want you to understand that when you dress that way, what are you doing? What do you say? What did you address here? Let's go backwards for a second. When someone wears a suit like that, what is he saying? Authority figure. How you dress creates a level of whether you're here or here. I don't like wearing suits. I just don't. I'm a jeans and sneakers kind of guy. But I know this. When I get up on a stage to close a lot of people, or if I'm going face-to-face to influence somebody, I'm going to wear a suit, blue, dark color, black, not flashy, gray with pinstripe, not a mob pinstripe suit, solid color, white, pink, solid color tie, clean, handkerchief to the highest level. You don't have to be that guy if it's not congruent with who you are. Don't do it. I'm just telling you, I want you to give you every bit of tools for your arsenal of what really, this stuff works. I hate to say it because I don't like it, but it works. And, I have two philosophies. Would you want to look foolish sometime and be rich, or look cool and be poor? I choose rich, right? You say words the way they should be said with tonality, even if it feels a bit goofy to you, because you make money like that. As long as it's not anathema to your existence, okay? You need to be congruent with who you are as a human being. I'm not saying that, because if you're not that, it won't work. You'll come off as disingenuous and it won't work. But to a point, you got to find out what represents the best you and dress that way. You dress for success. It's a very simple rule. You dress for success. Don't dress for failure. It doesn't take that long to put yourself together in the morning. It really doesn't. And I'm not that, so I throw stuff on my body. I'm not a great dresser. I'm just not. Okay? But when I'm going to close to work, I dress appropriately. Now, there are some people, and this man who I trained with was one of them. He said, I disagree. I'm just giving you both. I want to give you both sides of the coin so you know. He's like, I dress like that in a suit and tie every second of the day, even when I'm not working. He stays in character his entire life, and he's a character, all right. He stays in character, okay? When he's out for dinner with his wife, he's got his suit and hanky on. Now, I can't be that person, but there are people that say when you do that, and you're in character, you feel better about yourself, you feel like more of an authority figure, and because of that, you act on it, and you make more money. Food for thought. Wrapping your package. What I suggest you do, especially if you sell face-to-face, okay, you got to find out the dress code that works for you. Don't look like a slob. If you have a pinky ring, take it off. Take it off. Pinky rings have been shown to drop closing rates by 50%. 50%. Distrust. Now, if you own a gambling hall, maybe you wear a pinky ring, right? But not if you're selling cars. Okay, we spoke about discursive awareness. That's what the management is, angles with women and men. Okay, another thing, eye contact. 72% of the time you must make direct eye contact with somebody in person. Less than 72% of the time, it drops off. Your trust, they don't trust you. When you make eye contact, okay, you're developing trust, you're an authority figure, and you're sharp. Matching and mirroring is what we spoke about. This is body language. When you meet somebody, let me just go through it one more time. I did it briefly before, but you can see my body, okay? Mirroring means that you're directly doing what someone else is doing. So you're sitting across from somebody in a meeting, and they go like this, so you go like this. And they look at you, and if they don't catch you, it's powerful because they start to then do this, and you do this. You follow their moves almost as they're doing it. And you get into very, very strong unconscious rapport. I trained with a guy named Dr. Richard Bandler. I don't know if any of you know who he is. He founded neurolinguistic programming, the technology of neurolinguistic programming. Very powerful. The guy's like nuts. He's half nuts, but he's amazingly brilliant. Bandler, B-A-N-D-L-E-R, Richard Bandler. Brilliant guy, and he's wild, and He really is one of the gurus that was behind the entire self-help movement in the 70s and 80s. He's the guy who trained Anthony Robbins, and he trained all this Paul McKenna, this whole group of people that came out of self-help, 70s and 80s. And Bandler did these experiments with people with matching and mirroring. And when you mirror somebody, you get into massive rapport with them. The less offensive way is not to mirror, but to match. And that means when they go sit down on a stool like this, okay, and they, cross their arms, you don't, like, as they're doing it, cross your arms. You wait a few seconds, jiggle around, then you cross your arms, okay? If someone's sitting with their legs crossed, okay, then you wait a few seconds, and you cross your legs, and you settle into the same posture that the other person is. This is hugely powerful for gaining rapport in person. Don't underestimate this. It operates in a level you can't quite grasp. It's an unconscious level. Look at the opposite. Just understand. Let's say you walk in someplace and someone's flailing their arms about and they're just out of, like, you're in a calm state and they're in an opposite state. They're all agitated. How do you feel about that person? Out of rapport, right? You're instantly, you're standoffish, right? Well, just imagine the opposite, about the polar opposite would be someone who moves just like you. Someone who speaks just like you. Someone who vibrates at a precise level and frequency that you do. That's what matching and mirroring is all about. To get into them in their world, to enter at the same level, and to slowly move that level up or down, depending on what part of the presentation or close you're at, to create the appropriate emotion that allows them to make the right decision, which is to buy your product. That's body language. Now, when you're on the phone, and you can't do all that stuff, you have to accomplish it all through tonality. And a lot of us sell on the phone. And it's more and more because, we're phone, internet, right? We do stuff on Skype. They can't see your whole body, whatever it might be. Okay, it's going more towards that. So remember that in the absence of physical communication, 9% is going to be your words, and 91% is going to be your tone. Make sense to everybody? Yes or yes? Good? Okay. Sort of create your own personal vision quest. To actually go from the point where you watch something on a DVD and actually internalize it and make it real in your own life. I want you to write it down. I don't want you just to think about it or even visualize it. I want you to feel it. I want you to smell it. I want you to taste it. I want you to be able to touch it. I want this to become so powerful to you that it's going to help you really take that why that we spoke about earlier and make it real in your own life. Now, also important here is to take actions in the real world. You made some notes in your workbook, your action book, and I want you now to take action specifically. Write down that vision, spend at least 15 minutes clarifying the vision, and once you have this vision written down, I want you to share it with someone else, someone that supports you, someone that you can trust. You go through these modules one by one. You're doing a great job so far, but stick with it. Each one's a building block. It's specifically designed, one on top of the other, to cumulatively get you to a point where you'll be unconsciously confident at straight line persuasion. And when you're there, watch out. The world will be your oyster.